What's up guys, welcome to Be a Metal Fabricator. Today I'm working on this 1988 Monte Carlo and it's got some rust right on the top of this A-pillar in the T Tops. Now I have an aftermarket panel I'm going to be replacing some of this rust with, so I'm just going to demonstrate how I'm going to replace this rust with that aftermarket panel. That way you guys can apply some of this knowledge to your own projects if you have a welder and a grinder at home. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is figure out how far back this rust goes into the top of this area. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm not going to replace this entire top panel. I'm just going to replace right where the rust is. That way it saves the customer some time and some money, and a lot of this is still pretty solid, so we don't have to worry about replacing the whole thing. We'll just section it right here and replace what we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this paint. Somebody pour 15 the top of this just to try to get rid of the rust. So we're going to take that pour 15 off, some of this paint right here, and I know that there's some lead up here in this corner. Figure out where our spot welds are so we could grind those out, and hopefully we don't have any rust going back into this area. That way we could just replace what we need. So when I initially seen this rust, all I seen was right here, and I figured we could probably get away with cutting it here and moving it back. But as I ground off this paint, I noticed that we got some surface rust in here. It's kind of bad. There's some rust in here. This is how I check the rust. If I could poke through the metal with these, it needs to go. Now, I could probably get away with cutting it here, but then I noticed that up here, got some real rust in it too. I could poke holes in that. I could poke holes in this over here too pretty easily. So this panel's probably gonna have to be cut halfway up these T-tops and then replaced all the way down, which is a little more than I expected, but we could still get it done pretty quick. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take off this seal channel right here. It's spot welded in, so we'll grind those spot welds out and then knock this thing off of here. So the reason I'm taking this seal off is because when I go to put that other panel on so I could scribe it and know exactly where to cut, this will be in the way. So let's go ahead and take that off. And the best way I could take that off, I could see a spot weld here, but it's so rusted up in here that I can't see where those spot welds are. So I'll just start by hammering some of this up, and then I'll hit a spot weld. I know where that spot weld is now because I could see where the metal bent around where the spot weld's trying to hold it on. And I'll take my grinder and I'll grind out where those spot welds are. So this is one. So I'm just grinding through the top layer, and that should just pop right off now. So that one came off. So there's where the other spot weld is. Now I got one right here and right here. Let's grind those off. Now you can see the rust that was up under that. So it's a good thing that we're replacing that. So it would have just continued to rust. All right, let's go ahead and prep our aftermarket panel. Now we already know we're going to go somewhere in half. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark about half in here. Somewhere where I think would be good. It's probably around here. And I'm not gonna, this has the whole top of the windshield frame. I'm not gonna install all of this. I'm only gonna cut what we need. Now I think what we could do is cut right on the bottom edge of this first bend, and that should be good enough. So, you know, somewhere in here. Then when we cut that panel out, we'll fit it back to the car, scribe where we need to cut that panel out, and then we'll weld this one on. Let's fit it on the car. All right, so I'm just gonna put this right on top, line it up with the other panel. I'm gonna scribe up here where I'm gonna cut. So I gotta find all the spot welds on this flange, and the way I'm gonna do that is just grind the paint off a little bit. That exposes where those spot welds are. You can see them now. We got one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 so far. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut on my scribe line and then get this panel cut out of here all the way. All right, so we got some surface rust up in here. I'm just gonna scuff this up a little bit, blow it off, and then I'm gonna put some Pour 15, or if I have some, or I'm gonna spray it with some black paint just to keep this from rusting too much. Just a little bit of surface rust, it's not bad, but. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this panel on and line it up where that other panel was. I'm going to go ahead and scribe, make sure this is level over here on this side. I'm going to scribe this edge here. Now I know where to cut this. All right, I'm gonna pop some holes in this. I have this guy, but you can use a drill or whatever, a drill bit. All right, I got the panel put back on there, and I'm just gonna feel around on here and find out where a good spot is. I want this to be flush with the panel we cut off the car. So I'm gonna just hold my finger on it and give it a tack. Right, I have all this tacked exactly where I need it. It all feels good, nice and flush. This feels nice and flush. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these spot welds in here. Weld these spot welds in. That'll hold everything in while I weld this together. Now that this is all welded up, I'm going to go ahead and take this weld off of here, grind it flush, along with these spot welds. Alright guys, this panel's done and it came out beautiful. Now everything I did here, all the techniques I used, you could utilize it to replace pretty much any panel on this entire car as long as you have the replacement panel. So now that that's done, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys as always, all the support and everything. And until next time, we'll see you later.